All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming today. My name is Chuck Hackett. I am one of the application engineers at KETIV Technology. I'm with the support team, so chances are if you have submitted a support ticket asking for help, I may have helped you out at some point. With me today is one of my counterparts from Autodesk, Volker Coco. Volker is an AutoCAD technical embeddlement specialist, enablement even. Reading's not always my strong suit. So
it's all good. It's all about the entertainment.
There we go. We go ahead and go to the next slide, sir.
You betcha.
All right. So up on the screen right now are some upcoming events. Just want to make you aware of. On May 7th, we're going to have a KETIV Virtual Academy on what is new in Inventor 2024. And I believe we're actually going to have another Autodesk helper for that session. And then following on May 11th, we're going to have what's new in Vault 2024. Some great features coming out this year for Autodesk products. Just a little what we plan on doing today. We've kind of gone over my role at KETIV. I am one of the support specialists, and I also teach AutoCAD and the AutoCAD verticals. Prior to this, I worked for an engineering firm in Portland, Oregon for 15 years, and I was also a project manager in Salem, Oregon for a company that specialized in cell towers, hiding in plain sight. If you could tell it was a cell tower, that was not ours. I joined KETIV last year as one of the application engineers, and I've been having a blast ever since. So, next, there we go. Volker, why don't I allow you to introduce yourself, sir?
Sure, I'll keep it short and sweet. I'm based in Portland, Oregon. I am a technical enablement specialist for AutoCAD, which means I do things like this: present webinars and content, not only for our partners, you, or our internal staff, but for customers as well. I've been with Autodesk since 2011, and I've been working with the AutoCAD software since 1991. Probably some people out there who've been around longer, but it's not a race, right? It is, I'm going to keep it to that right there. Hopefully, we'll have some good stuff here we will have some good stuff. We're hoping you'll enjoy it.
There we go. Real quick, I just wanted to add before we really kick off, at the end of the session today, you're going to see a link pop up on your screen asking you to give us feedback. We'd love to hear what you say. What are we doing great? What could we work on a little bit better? We're here to work for you. Okay, we want to help you out. It's what we enjoy. Also, as far as digital transformation, if you're interested in learning more about the products that are used in today's session, please don't hesitate to reach out to us using the number or the email that's listed later on. The KETIV team is ready to help your company digitally transform and take advantage of current pricing, promotions, and software options. Thank you for joining today, and let's get going.
All righty. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. This is gonna be a very fast presentation. I'm gonna go over some of this stuff pretty quick, and not gonna get into all the user interface details and such, but provide you with information about the major features in AutoCAD, not only how cool they are, which I think they are, but some of the limitations, some of the things you need to watch out for. And then we're going to, of course, I do have some reference slides here as well, but we'll go into a little Q&A depending on how much time we have left. That may vary. Prior to starting, though, we do have a safe harbor statement that we do want you to take a moment to read. And basically, it means that anything I talk about, don't base any purchase decisions on some of the anything I may mention that comes up about future technology. I probably won't be touching too much on that, but we do need to display this. All right, that said, let's go ahead and move onward to some general information. Again, these are just some of the highlights of things you should be aware of. So first of all, the first question we receive, or one of the most popular ones, I should say, is what's the file compatibility? Is it still 2018 drawing compatibility? Yes, it is. We have not changed that, so we have another year of not having to worry about using the save as command to go to a previous drawing format. And then we did make some changes to the system requirements. I'm not going to spend too much time going over those details, but I would encourage you to open those up and take a look, as we have, well, we've left the basics for memory remain the same, but we have, to be more realistic, upped the recommendations for memory. And this is just to provide a better experience with AutoCAD. 8 gigabytes of memory is not that much, and realistically, most customers have quite a bit more anyway. The graphics, though, have been up as far as our recommendations go, as well as the basics. And I would encourage you to take a look at that. The reason, one of the reasons we have upped the graphics recommendations is many of the newer systems nowadays, they come with an integrated card, and many of those have maybe 8 to 16 gigabytes of VRAM. And it's not VRAM, it's system RAM. And AutoCAD has to make use of that. Your system has to make use of that. And any other applications need to make use of that. So it is best, and we do put a little blurb in the system requirements now, letting you know that you should, if you have a discrete card on a system, those systems with dual cards, use that discrete card to power AutoCAD's graphics. The VRAM is going to give you optimal performance when working with your AutoCAD. Probably one of the biggest system changes we have in store is that the AutoCAD for Mac applications and AutoCAD LT now will run and are supported on the M series chip. This provides a twofold in performance. And one of the things, be aware, even though performance is upped, I mean, those results are going to vary based on the user, their experience, the machine operating system, filters in the drawing files, and even the source material. So performance is improved, but results may vary. Another change you'll see is that the Autodesk desktop application was replaced back in mid-February by Autodesk Access. Autodesk Access, when you install AutoCAD, is if you still have the desktop application installed, will uninstall that desktop application. Then it's going to install the Autodesk Access application. I have 2 screenshots there. The top one is from when it was first introduced. You actually had 2 tabs. We now have the lower version of that is what most customers are going to see, where everything is on that one tab and then a link to your Autodesk account. Somewhere around mid FY24, July, August. I can't say for sure. Auto update functionality will be introduced for your major and incremental updates of AutoCAD. For those who are CAD administrators who may not want this to occur, there is a switch that will allow you to disable the auto update functionality. So just something to be aware of. Next, we've introduced AutoCAD, AutoLisp in AutoCAD LT. So AutoCAD LT can now leverage, the thousands of Lisp routines that have been written, which could previously only be used in AutoCAD and the tool sets. You should all be familiar with AutoLisp as far as the AutoCAD applications. There are some limitations that you should be aware of. So the key points here is actually the top major bullet item. AutoCAD AutoLisp in AutoCAD LT is only going to be access the commands that AutoCAD LT itself has. So it's not going to be able to access external applications. It cannot access functions such as 3D modeling or anything like that AutoCAD does. Okay, there are limitations here. Also, LT on the Mac OS does not yet support AutoLisp, and the integrated Visual Lisp editor is also not available in AutoCAD LT. Now, recently we did replace the old Visual Lisp IDE with the Visual Studio Code environment. Even though it's not integrated with LT, keep in mind that you can install that if you want to write code or tweak existing code, and use that environment to do that. And then you can still load those Lisp routines using the app load command or through a batch file or acad.lisp file. So should make a lot of people happy, but we'll probably also see a lot of questions regarding AutoLisp as well. All right. So moving on, I'm going to talk about the big features that were not only introduced, but the first two here are going to be enhancements to features, or the first three or four actually, and then I'm going to talk about the new functionality. I'm going to be going over all of this rather quickly so that I can have some time to demonstrate some of this functionality for you. First of all, let's take a look at some behind the scenes enhancements. The first one is that AutoCAD 2024 adds a new plotter configuration file, and this is the publish to web PNG transparent PC3 file. This supports the creation of PNG with transparent backgrounds. So this option is also included with the plotter configuration custom properties dialog. So you could actually take the original publish to web PNG file and you could tweak it to do the same and just have one PC3 instead of the duplicate. But I'd encourage you to keep both. You may want one for color options or whatever color background, and one for transparency. This should make a lot of people happy. I was happy to see it, I can assure you. Secondly, we've added a new bitcode to the PDF SHX system variable. This allows us to store text objects that use shape-compiled fonts as hidden text when the drawing is exported to a PDF. This makes that text searchable and selectable in the PDF without introducing all the shape-compiled comments that we've seen previously. So should be happy for, make a lot of people happy as well. All right, so let's take a look at some enhancements that we have to AutoCAD. We'll start off with trace, and the markup import and markup assist tool, which was introduced in the last release. So the trace environment, it continues to improve and now includes a new command called copy from trace, which copies objects from a trace into the drawing. There is no ribbon icon for this, or if somebody were to use the old style toolbars, no button for it, it's command line only. We've also added some settings that were previously only available from the system variable, and modified the settings palette on the trace toolbar. So you'll see the top two items, overlay effect and geometry in the trace, changing the transparency on those. These two are only going to be available in trace. If you're in the markup assist environment, you will see these additional two transparency options here for the drawing background itself, or for to fade a markup. Moving on to markup import and assist, since we were just talking about trace, the previous release of AutoCAD included this new markup import and markup assist functionality. It uses machine learning to identify markups and provide a way to view and insert those drawing revisions with less manual effort. Now, this release includes some improvements that make it easier to work with those markups in your drawing. So markup assist now recognizes strike through or deletion markup. So any text that has a strike through over it, it recognizes what that is. PDF comments made in, say, Adobe Acrobat, those will also be brought in with the markup, and you can use the existing text in those comments if you choose to, as M-leader text, or just inserting as text. We also have a tool, fade markup. This will allow you to mark up any, fade any markups that you are done with or are unrecognized, and allows you just to get them out of your field of vision. We also have what we call instructional text. And this is if you have something like remove in the drawing or erase. Instructional text supports the move command, the copy command, and the delete or erase command. So if you have anything similar to that, markup recognizes that. If you then select, in this case here, we have an image with remove. If I were to select that, it would execute the erase command in AutoCAD to allow you to quickly erase the objects that are within an assist boundary. So it's a pretty cool feature. Something else that has been asked for, feedback from the previous release, is viewport assist. So when a markup is imported into Paperspace, if you activate a viewport, that markup can still be used and is actionable even if you've gone into a model space viewport. And you'll see this in the demo as I talk about that. So of course, this introduces also new commands and new system variables. So some best practices, obviously, your PDF, raster or vector is a great format to be using for when you're importing a markup. In JPEGs and PNGs, a photo or a scan is, these are all good tools to be used, good markups to be importing into your drawing. I will say that use a monochrome or grayscale background as opposed to a color background for optimal import. you should use full saturation color markups, such as a red or green. Don't use black, or stay away from black, and specifically don't use a highlighter like a yellow one. Yellow highlighters are not going to work that well in a markup. And minimize shadows. Again, photos are good for marking up, bringing in as a markup, but scans tend to be a lot more reliable. And of course, vector PDFs are even more reliable than scans. But and photos with shadows, again, it's all what does the markup functionality or the markup assist functionality recognize. These are the best practices. There are limitations. Okay. Auto alignment. It's improved quite a bit, a lot more accurate in this release. However, it still will sometimes not align as expected. And that's why we do have the options to manually move, scale, rotate before accepting the location of the alignment, of the imported alignment. So there another limitation, and it's feedback from customers. You know, they expect a high quality objects in the AutoCAD drawings. Well, markups are rasterized, and the resolution and precision is not going to be the same as when using PDF attached. It's just a reality, and there's not much we can do about that. And as far as text goes, we rely on external components for certain functionality involving text, and that external component is Google OCR. So our text recognition capabilities are going to be as good as the Google technology is. As that gets better, ours gets better. Some assists are not going to be recognized. The ones that are supported text, boundaries, and strike-throughs, those are all recognized. Any geometry in a markup, so somebody drawing a chair or something, that's not going to be recognized by Markup Assist. You want to also be aware that some duplicate or misidentified assists may give unexpected results. For example, a circle markup, okay, if it's pretty precise, it can be detected as both a boundary in the import or as the letter O, okay? So, these are just quirky little results that some users may come back with. But again, keep in mind, it's all fuzzy machine learning, and although there are unexpected results with placement or appearance, this functionality, will continue to improve. It's already improved over the last release. So just some limitations to be aware of. And one of the new features we have is smart blocks. And there are two functionalities here. One is block placement and block replacement. The new automatic block placement capability, it's enabled for blocks inserted and will assist in placing that block. The block placement engine, it learns how the existing block instances are placed in the drawing. So in other words, you need to insert one block first, but after you've inserted that block into the drawing, if you insert another instance of that same block, it infers that how the previous block was inserted. So if you have a chair and you place it 6 inches away from a desk at a 30-degree angle, it recognizes that and will place your next instance at that same angle and rotation, as well as scale factor. Once that has been done, if you open up that drawing later and insert the same block, it's again going to infer, hey, this has been placed and this is how it was placed. And it gives you options, obviously, to overwrite that. So you have options for placing the block. And then if you want to manually check other options, you can use the control key. If you want to just disable it temporarily, you can use Shift plus W. You can also, of course, turn that off using the placement switch and auto placement system variables. And again, we'll see how this works in the demo. There are some limitations, so it is all machine learning, and it learns from existing insertions of the same block, as I explained. Currently, properties are not included. So if you inserted the chair on the chair layer, later on you're working on the furniture layer and decide to insert the chair, it's going to use the furniture layer. And so just not supported at this time. It is being worked on. No 3D support either at this time. If you have any troubleshooting, need to do some troubleshooting, couple things. Maybe you're having performance issues, try turning auto placement off. If auto placement isn't working for someone, try turning it to a bit code of 1 to enable it. It may somehow have been switched off. But if you're going to send in a support case, please provide us with not only details, but the block as well as the drawing, or at least the context of that drawing, so a small portion of it. I know some people are a little finicky about sending their data. No, understood. And a screen capture. Again, the more details, the better we can troubleshoot. Block replacement. This will allow you to specifically select one or multiple instances of blocks in the drawing, and then replace it with another block of the same type, either through a suggestion provided by the machine learning, or from a palette, or from your block library. It suggests similar looking blocks to easily allow you to make that replacement. The blocks do have to exist in the drawing, or they need to be within a library drawing attached to your blocks palette. So when you use the block replace function, any blocks that are replaced will also include the scale of that block, the rotation, and attribute values. They're all going to be maintained from the original block. So again, this is based on machine learning, and as you work with AutoCAD, the suggestions are going to improve. So again, with this block replacement functionality, you will find the command on the properties palette. You can use the B replace command. Again, you can select one or multiple instances of a block, and it does inherit those attributes if it has. There's minimal support for dynamic blocks. By that, it's going to be the default shape of the dynamic block. So whatever the top, the display value of the original dynamic block was, that's what it's going to use. And then it suggests blocks, as I said, from whatever has been used in the drawing. There are some limitations. Again, you do need to have a block library attached to the block palette, and the machine learning, what it's looking at may not always make sense. For example, I'll use the chair example again. Maybe there's a toilet being used in the drawing as well, it may infer that, okay, here I'm suggesting you use this block, which is a toilet, which you obviously don't want as a chair, or maybe a sofa, something like that. It may not always give the appropriate recommendation, but as it moves forward, it does learn. For troubleshooting purposes, please do provide the original block and the library you're using, as well as drawing context. That would help as well. We do, the first time you use this functionality, you'll get a dialog, which I keep forgetting to put a screen capture of on here, asking the user to consent to sending data back to us about their usage of block replacement. That's all it does. It's a way for us to make the product better. We do understand some customers may not want to send data, although it's only about the usage of blocks, so they can opt out of it. Block replacement will still work. And for CAD managers who do not want this, the CAD Manager Control utility allows you to enable or disable that functionality. And the last topic before going into demos is activity insights. We introduced insights, my insights, back in 2022.1, I think it was. And which allows us to give the customers information about their use of AutoCAD. With this release, Activity Insights will track events that that you use when working on your drawings. For example, if I start a new drawing and give it a name, it's going to track that event. If I make some modifications to it or someone else, it will track that as well. I'll talk more about it momentarily. But basically, it's a way for drafters and administrators to stay informed of any relevant changes to a file. It requires minimal setup. Basically, when you first launch AutoCAD, it prompts you to specify a location for activity events. These can be on a LAN, they can be local. Local is the default, in fact, or on a cloud server. And these activity logs are nothing more than small JSON text files. So they take up minimal space, and any user working on the same drawing their events will be tracked. So it's a great way of keeping track of what's happening with your AutoCAD drawing file. This not only works in AutoCAD, but in the tool sets as well as Civil 3D. So as I said, the Activity Insights tracks events whenever a drawing file is opened and being worked on in AutoCAD. It can also track some events outside of AutoCAD. So if you were to rename that file using Windows Explorer, or you can copy it, make a copy of it in Windows Explorer, those events are also tracked. Currently, Activity Insights captures these events. It doesn't look like many. As we move forward, more events will be added. And currently, if you're using the tool sets or AutoCAD Civil 3D, these are the only events you're going to see tracked. We're just doing core AutoCAD with this first implementation. Again, as the other teams work on the tool sets and Civil 3D, more events will be added, and as will more events be added to AutoCAD itself. And the way this works is that when a user starts a new drawing, or even has an existing drawing, regardless of the location, AutoCAD Insights starts tracking those events. So here they're working on the drawing, edits are made, that's being tracked. Those events are tracked in the Activity Insights common folder by default. This is in the app data folder of the user. Again, users are prompted initially when they launch AutoCAD to specify the location. So putting this on a server, cloud, or LAN, multiple users would then be tracked whenever working on that particular drawing. Once a location has been specified, again, those users would be able to also add their activities to that event. It's pretty simple. It's very straightforward to set up. It doesn't take much at all. Let's move on and do some demos. I'm pretty sure that's going to make you a little happier than me just talking about all this stuff. So in this particular drawing, I have a couple of traces that we aren't going to see a bubble for because I've opened this up, obviously, and worked in this drawing. And let's take a look at the first trace here. And you'll see that I'm in the wrong drawing, which is unfortunate. I'll talk about that. Let's see if we have this here. Yeah. Yeah, I opened up the drawing. Okay, one awkward moment so far. Here it is. All right, we'll talk about the trace itself a little later, but we're in the trace environment where we see our traces, and this is called trace front. What I'm going to do is go into markups, and we'll just turn this around a little bit. Go into markups and import a markup and show you how cool that is nowadays. So I'm loading this up. That part hasn't changed much at all. And as I bring the markup in, it is a lot. The alignment of everything is quite a bit better, accurate as far as if I were to see any kind of boundaries here or line work for walls, it would be aligned a lot more accurately. But that's not really where I want to go with all this. We're going to start over here and take a look. So first of all, I'm going to go into the editing environment for the markups. And what we have here, this icon, is if I select it, you'll see this is a comment added in Adobe PDF. And as I imported this, it also imported the comment, and it allows me to insert this as an M leader, insert as M text. I can update existing text nowadays and fade the markup itself. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and fade it because it's just giving me some information that I'm going to use, and you'll see it's out of sight, out of mind. I didn't really need that. Now, what we have over here is some text saying, hey, you need to remove all of this within this boundary. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And if you note, it may be easier on the command line where it says, I'm now in the erase command. And erase select objects. I do have the little tooltip, which is kind of small. So what I'm going to do is select this boundary here for the assist, and as I select it, and awkward moment. Oh, you know what? Very awkward moment. I'm paper space. All this stuff is in model space. So this is very awkward. How many times have I done this? And oh well, I'm all about the entertainment for you people. So what I'm going to do is just double click here, and I've now made the viewport active. And now I'll go ahead and I'm still in that markup. Assist. As I select the boundary, everything within the boundary is now selectable. So I right click and it erases everything in there, and it fades this particular markup right here, the instructional text. It does still have, it didn't know what to do with this. I didn't really tell it to do anything. So what I'm going to do is go up here, select fade, and select that. I could also select it like this, and it has gotten this out of the way. I don't need those markups anymore. Coming down here, I have another, okay, it's telling me the furniture is on order, so I really don't need to do anything with this. I'm going to go ahead and fade that markup, and we've seen this in the original release, insert as Rev Cloud. So I'm just going to do that. And here we have some text. What's going on here? So I need to change this to 60XX. So I want to point out this block has an attribute. Okay, that's an attribute value we're seeing there. I'm going to go ahead and select the markup. I'm going to update the existing text. I'll select scooch in here so you can see it better. I'm going to go ahead and select the text and tell it to replace. And whoops, didn't want to do that. And so now it's updated that text and faded out the markup. So pretty cool stuff there. At least I think it is. So that said, I'm going to open up the drawing I should have opened up earlier. Oops, that's new drawing. That's not what I want either. Let's go to my Start tab. There we go. The K0 drawing. Let's switch over to the model layout and talk a little bit about the block functionality that we have. I'll talk first about block replace. And here we have a chair here that I need to make all the rest of these, or maybe just some of them, need to replace it. And what I'm going to do is, what am I doing? Yeah, I'm going to replace. So I'm selecting this block here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the palette that pops up, which allows me to pick a block that I want to use to replace. And I just had another awkward moment because basically I need to do it this way. Go ahead and select these chairs. I want to replace all those. Chair 7. There we go. Much better, more better. And it shows me the blocks it's suggesting. And this is what I mean by, be aware it's not always going to be right on as to a good suggestion. I really don't want to put a couch in here. I want it to look like this chair. I could pick that, but it's also telling me that, okay, here's a suggestion for that. And I don't need to refine this chair. Redefine it, and it updates those. So yes, it's, we have a similar tool on the tool palettes, but this is designed to be used within the current drawing to specifically just work on those objects you already have. So what I wanted to show you, because this is my second, I'm going to backtrack here. I believe it's this one that I made the change for, is that in the trace environment, oops, I guess it wasn't right there, and that's okay. Add chair 8 and update all chairs in this section. So again, we're in a trace environment. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to where I'm in trace edit, or and I'm going to go ahead and use copy from trace. I'll select this chair, enter, and of course I'm not on a specific layer here for that, but I've quickly added the object because I'm thinking, hey, why should I go somewhere else for this chair? They've already put it in the trace. They could have added it to the drawing themselves. I'm being lazy. I'm just going to use what's already been created and add it to this drawing. Probably want to change the properties here, but this is really neat functionality to just add stuff to the drawing. Speaking of adding, let's close the trace palette and let's go over to our blocks here. I've block library attached. I'm going to go ahead and insert some desks. I'm on the furniture layer, and let's zoom in, and you'll see as I bring the desk near an object, it starts orienting it based on the angle of the wall in this case. I'm in auto placement mode, so let's say I'm down here and it does this. I may want to use the control key to toggle through the various line work that is there. And if I don't decide any of those work for me, I'll use the auto placement here. Probably not how I would have wanted to place this with the door right there, but since I'm having all kinds of awkward moments, I'll go with that. I can also insert using from my tool palette or any other method really, if that block's already in the drawing. And as you can see, it is aligning that chair. Obviously, from the tool palette, I didn't have the repeat block function, but that's okay. So this is pretty cool stuff. I mean, back in the day when I was drafting, I'd have Lisp routines and such to automate this kind of stuff, but you had to have a specific angle, right? Here, it's doing the thinking for you. All right, so going to the View tab, I'm going to go ahead and click on this Activity Insights. And while I've been doing all this work, save the drawing here. My work has been tracked from Activity Insights. And you can see back here on April 12th, I saved this to a different drawing name. It shows me what the original name was of the drawing in the tooltip there and what it is now and who did it. At one point, so it doesn't track those individual, I added a line here, added a block here, type of events at this time, but it lets me know that, hey, so-and-so modified this drawing on this particular date. Here the file, you'll see this is unknown user, file renamed. The reason you're seeing this is because the drawing was renamed through Windows File Explorer. Okay, so outside of AutoCAD, but it knows it was renamed, and again gives you the information of the old name and the new name. I published this to a PDF at one point, and it lets me know that it was me who did it. Good thing I forgot what layout was published and to what location.
Hey,
so
Volker,
yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that is my new favorite feature right there, being able to see that it was renamed in Windows.
I'm good with you interrupting. This is very cool stuff. This is only going to get better too. I love this.
Right.
Yeah, and we've got some great options here to filter by the different events, filter by who modified it, and also filter by date. So, hey, I had a few awkward moments here, but I think, in my opinion anyway, I'm loving some of these new features that we've introduced. And yeah, it looks like good. I left enough time for some Q&A on this. Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting stuff, some of this.
That last one blows my mind. I like being able to see that someone that was not an AutoCAD user renamed it. So
Yeah. And yeah, it'd be nice if it picked up the Windows username or something, right? But who
maybe in the
knows?
future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is the first implementation of this. The nice thing is, it's not just in AutoCAD. It's in AutoCAD toolsets as well as Civil 3D.
Beautiful. Hey, so while you were talking about the new Autodesk application for signing in and updates and whatnot, you made the statement that administrators can disable the updates. And so my question to you is, if an administrator desires to disable those updates, well, I guess it's not really a question, but they can either contact Autodesk, or if they are one of our support customers, they can contact us and we can provide documentation on how the administrator can disable those automatic updates.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. And, I probably should have finished up with my slide deck as well. All right. So let me just put you on hold for a moment.
Sure.
Okay. So we have some reference sections here, and these are just images, so these aren't hyperlinked or anything when you get this, but you can go to the help documentation to find the links for this. They're all alphabetized and all sectioned just like you're seeing it here. I've put in these quick reference for you to know which commands have changed, which no longer exist, and which are new, as well as system variables. But the reason I wanted to get to this is that I've put some links here. And here is a link to a document that does exactly what you were asking.
There you go. Perfect.
So, and also, another one talking a little bit more about what Autodesk Access does. So I'm working bottom up here. The AutoLisp reference, if you have any questions about the limitations, not only for AutoCAD LT with AutoLisp, but also AutoCAD Web, this has a great comparison chart of what functionality is not available in LT and Lisp and Web compared to full-blown AutoCAD, all right? As well as a full reference. The documentation has been extensively updated, the developer documentation, and there's some good tutorials in there that have been updated as well. And then, of course, here's the new commands and system variable reference. And look, I'd encourage every one of you to join the Autodesk feedback community. Not only can you get to the latest, get involved in the beta testing, but also just provide feedback to the developers of the software. Even if there's not a beta available at the time to work on, you can, there's a feedback forum there just to discuss AutoCAD. It is not a support forum, all right? Not a support forum. It's to work on future technology and anything that is upcoming. As having spoken about updates, one I need you to be aware of is that we have updated 2024.0.1 to address an issue with migration. This is primarily on localized releases, not so much here in the US, but in Europe, we've seen issues with migration not working as expected from a previous release. And we also have a link here that might be of interest to you of all the issues that were fixed in AutoCAD and the tool sets with this release of the AutoCAD 2024 products. Now,
All right. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to submit those if you haven't already. One thing I just wanted to state again, I already stated it earlier, but if you are interested in learning more about the products that we used in today's session, please don't hesitate to reach out to us using the phone number on the screen or send us an email at support@ketiv.com. Our team is standing by. We're ready to help you digitally transform, help you take advantage of any current pricing promotions and software options. But if you don't have any questions, well, thank you for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. Christina, have you seen any questions on the YouTube side of it? I don't have any on the Zoom side.
I don't see any on YouTube.
Okay. Well, I hope you all learned something great. Volker is excellent at what he does, and like I said, that one feature is my favorite so far.
Yeah, I won't go with the excellent. I mean, I have plenty of awkward moments, but hey, you know, I would think as AutoCAD users, we all have awkward moments at times when we're working with our software. It's not just AutoCAD; it's Windows. It's any software, right?
We're all
and when
human.
yeah, things happen. That's the
Yeah.
reality. You know, their gravity is there. So, hey, yeah, it's been my pleasure. And I hope this helps with understanding the features. Again, I had to go over it fast, but there was some cool stuff I really wanted to show you in the demo.
I appreciate it so much, sir. So,
Oh,
all right. Well, with no other questions, I think we're going to call it a wrap today. Thank you so much.
thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Appreciate
All
you
right.
taking the time for me.
Awesome. Have a great day, everybody.